Okay, I'm continuing my reading, and what I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. Oops, sorry, we bumped the camera. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a little bit as I move along, especially when I get into the reign of the kings, and we will be jumping around with the prophets and as they begin to prophesy. So, but right now we are still in Deuteronomy. This will be chapter 13. The Lord tests his people to see if they will worship false gods. Prophets, dreamers, relatives, or friends who advocate worship of false gods shall be put to death. Idolatrous cities shall be destroyed. So, if there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, Let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, for the Lord your God proveth you, to know whether ye love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Ye shall walk after the Lord your God, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him and cleave unto him. And that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, shall be put to death, because he hath spoken to turn you away from the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which the Lord thy God commanded thee to walk in. So shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee. Okay, this is very important. If a prophet comes, or a dreamer, and they give a sign or a wonder, and it comes to pass. In other words, there are those who can perform miracles that are not from God. Remember, the priests of Egypt, the priests of Pharaoh, they were able to duplicate, I think, the first 3 or 4 plagues. Satan has power, and he gives power to his followers. He doesn't have as much power as God does, but he does have power. And God is here saying, look, don't follow after everybody who performs some miraculous work. If they are teaching you wrong doctrine, then the signs they are giving you are not good. They're false signs. They may be giving you signs of power. They may be showing power, but they are not true prophets. They are leading you astray. And the penalty for this back in the day was execution. Get rid of the evil. Remove it from among you. But remember, not every miracle comes from God. Verse 6. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend which is in thine own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, Let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers, namely of the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee, from the one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth, thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thine eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him, but thou shalt surely kill him. Thine hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people. And thou shalt stone him with stones, that he die, because he hath sought to thrust thee away from the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. And all Israel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this is among you. Friends, relatives, family, doesn't matter. If they are tempting you away, if they are saying, let's go worship other gods. Now, remember, you don't just kill them outright. You bring them before the people. You bring them before the councils, before the judges. You prove in court that they are guilty. But you are the one that turns them in. You do not hide them. You do not conceal them. If they come and say, hey, we got to go, come join us in this little secret worshiping over here, you go. You report them. And if they are proven guilty, then you are the one that starts to implement the punishment. This is a very important thing, but let's finish the chapter real quick, and then I will come back to this here. Verse 12. If thou shalt hear say in one of thy cities, which the Lord thy God hath given thee to dwell there, saying, certain men, the children of Belial, are gone out from among you, and have withdrawn the inhabitants of their city, saying, let us go and serve other gods which ye have not known. Then shalt thou inquire, and make search, and ask diligently, and behold, if it be truth, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought among you, thou shalt surely smite the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly, and all that is therein, and the cattle thereof, with the edge of the sword. And thou shalt gather all the spoil of it into the midst of the city thereof, and shalt burn with fire the city, and all the spoil thereof, every whit, for the Lord thy God. And it shall be an heap forever, it shall not be built again. And there shall cleave not of the cursed thing to thine hand, that the Lord may turn from the fierceness of his anger, and shew thee mercy, and have compassion upon thee, and multiply thee as he hath sworn unto thy fathers, when thou shalt hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep all his commandments which I command thee this day, to do that which is right in the eyes of the Lord thy God. So a city who is concealing idol worship, who is concealing false pagan gods, and drawing the people of that city into that worship. If the city itself is guilty, it is not only, you don't just kill the people, you annihilate the city. Animals, people, everything destroyed, gathered into the city, and burnt to the ground. Do not keep anything from it. Absolutely obliterate. We keep the evil away by destroying it. Now, going back to the whole execution and saying you have to be the one to turn them in, there is a reason for this. Because one of the biggest ways that sin and crime and all this stuff continues and is perpetuated and increases in the land, in any nation, the biggest cause is that people do not, or people conceal the guilty parties. People defend them. And God is here saying, no. If you know they are guilty, it is your responsibility to make sure they are brought to court, they are tried, and they are punished. If you are not the one, if you are concealing them, if you are helping them to get away with their sin and their iniquities, then you are just as guilty. I have long believed that if the people would actually do their duty and report crime, regardless of who committed it, if they would report crime and would actively testify in court, that we would have a very rapid reduction. Well, of course, in the modern day, we don't punish criminals anymore, but about 10 years ago, it would have been different. It's what we have in the modern day, this concept of not snitching. You don't snitch on your neighbor. You don't snitch on your friends. And I counter that. What the Lord wants is a conscientious informant. He wants us all to be. The difference being that a snitch only tells for the purpose of punishing, purpose of causing pain and suffering. He wants the guilty party to suffer. And so he will go, and because of that, the snitch will report anything that he thinks might cause suffering. That's what a snitch is. The conscientious informant, which is what God wants us to be, is the one who turns them in. He reports. He tells the authorities of what is going on. But he does it to preserve society. He does it for the good of the people. He doesn't want anybody to suffer. But he knows that if he doesn't act, that more people will suffer. And so he has to act in order to protect the most people. The guilty party may suffer. They may have to be executed, according to the law of Moses at least. But it is better that the guilty party suffer than that they get away with it and cause others to suffer. That is what God wants from us. And I still think God wants that from us. God wants us, if we see, and I'm talking about petty stuff. In the modern day, there's a lot of pettiness going around, but you can't, it's like, let me give you an example. That in a local ward here in New England, a man was charged with raping his daughter. Now, he should have been turned over to the police, arrested, tried, thrown in prison, according to the law. But there were members in the ward who hid him in their house to protect him from the police, to prevent him from being arrested. When he was finally caught and arrested, they went to court and testified on his behalf, in his defense, against his daughter. That is evil. That is what God is talking about here. You cannot do that. You cannot protect the evil. Those who are committing evil must be turned over to the law. Anyways, I'm going to stop ranting, and I will see you in the next one.